Maldito sea todos estos perros gringos, todos, y que las maldiciones de Dios lleguen hacia ellos.
Cuando me activo saco el cuerno de chivo. Todo lo que digo yo lo he vivido, haciendo oraciones entre mis suspiros. Muerte por un gringo es negativo y sigo. Estamos en guerra con estos gabachos, hijos de perra, y espera. Ellos son de Inglaterra, en barcos llegaron a nuestra tierra, se aferran que somos ilegales, que toda nuestra raza son criminales, corrales. Es donde nos encierran sin causa, motivo, nos encierran, quisieran acabar con nuestra gente, pero aquí estamos hasta el presente, y muerte es lo que está presente, unida nuestra gente, la raza está más fuerte, la escuela israelita, donde no corremos con edomitas, todo de la Biblia ellos predican, y a toda nuestra gente se le avisa.
Ha llegado lo que esperan, guerra mundial tercera, que todos los gringos se caigan y mueran. Cobro condenas y ya Shakar lo ordena, con líricas mortales prosigue el asalto. No somos cobardes ni menos cristianos, crúcense la línea y en corto los castros. Malditos caballos cazan nuestros pasos. Así es, raza, si no los conoce les presento a Satanás, porque todos los putos son de la Ku Klux Klan. Así es, mi gente, póngase trucha, no me ande ellos iconeando quiénes somos nosotros para andar hincando a toda la bola de pendejos.
Shalom Israel. Nosotros somos la Escuela Israelita de Conocimiento Práctico Universal. Comenzamos en calle 125 en Harlem, Nueva York, abajo del Comandante General Yahana. And since 1969, we've been telling so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth of the Bible. And tonight we're going to get into some history. Tonight we're celebrating, most of y'all are celebrating so-called Cinco de Mayo. And some people say that, oh, we're celebrating Mexican independence, but you're completely mistaken. This is not the night of Mexican independence at all. It's just the battle of the Puebla, which the Mexicans won against the French. But most people like to say that it's the Mexican Independence Day, and they're celebrating. They go to their local bar, and they drink shots of tequila, and they celebrating with the oppressor. Like, hey, dude, I got some tequila for you. You want to take a shot? It's Cinco de Mayo,
right? And
then you're like, I'll take a shot with you, and then not knowing that he's just using this as an excuse just to get drunk,
right?
But you actually thinking that they're celebrating this because they actually how can I say, they want to show some type of camaraderie towards you, and that couldn't be further from the truth.
Right.
It's just a ploy to make money off of you. They bring you in with I forgot what they're called, but they're paper cutouts that are people cut out. They cut out little designs on these paper cutouts, and they hang them from the walls. And the oppressor likes to wear these fake sombreros, and then they have specials on the beer at the local bar. It's all just to bring you in, to entice you, just to make money off of you. That's all it is. They don't give a damn about Cinco de Mayo, what it actually represents, because they wouldn't say it's Mexican Independence Day. They wouldn't say that. They would actually say, oh, it's just the battle of Puebla. But we're actually going to get into an article showing you what's really in their heart, how they really feel about us, and how we should actually separate from them and start loving one another. But it's like you, sir. We're going to get into a video. Okay, it's right up here. But bear with me. We're going to get into a video of what we're getting into tonight. Search for here. Or...
Yeah, you gotta go back, make it smaller.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, we're about to get into this video right here. This video will show you the history of how our oppressor actually feels about us, and about how they just want to gain commerce over us. And this video goes into the history of how they did it here in Texas. Texas is probably one of the most celebrated. Where Cinco de Mayo is celebrated mostly here in Texas,
Right.
and California. But this video shows you how they really feel about you. Let's get into it.
Well, anyway, this is what I wanted to show you because it is considered by many the most famous tree in all of Texas. Okay, this is the famous hanging tree of Goliad County. It was a site of extrajudicial executions. In other words, this was a lynchment.
How many Mexicans?
Some against the social order. Over there, we have a tree where it is said they hung the black. We had standards. You can't lynch a black person from the same lynch a person. It just ain't fit. It ain't fit. It just ain't fit. So this is the kind of crazy racism that fueled all this. And why? It was economics, and it was also the fact that they wanted our land. In fact, they came here to take our land, and they were very successful. It's a tourist thing now here. Everything's named Hanging Tree around here. But, I mean, when you really think about it, it should give you the creeps. Back then, of course, a hanging was a big community event. Little boys would climb into the adjacent trees to get a good view. People would bring picnic baskets. They would make a day out of it. It was like a big jovial affair. Of course, this is for the white people. The black people and Mexicans weren't going to come to this because they were the object of it was to instill terror in their lives.
This is I mean, this is horrible. You know?
Yeah, it is horrible. It is what it is. It is what it is.
The events that took place here in Goliad weren't unique. Over the next 70 years, there were 871 documented lynchings of Mexican Americans in 13 Western states. And yet the violence found in the rest of the Southwest didn't compare to the horror of South Texas. In a single decade, from 1910 to 1920, historians estimate as many as 5,000 Mexican Americans were murdered in a brutal wave of terror and mass executions. In proportion to their numbers, Mexicans were lynched in the West as often as blacks were lynched in the South.
Damn.
Good night.
Good night. That just goes to show you our oppressor's true nature. They may cover it up by saying, "Oh yeah, man, we're going out tonight. We're gonna get some shots of tequila and come out with us. It's Cinco de Mayo," and they try to act like your friend, but in the back of their mind, they're thinking on how to gain on you. And the reason why we're going to go into another article. The reason why they were lynching Mexicans at that tree in Goliad, Texas, is because we were starting to build up as a people. There's a piece of history called the cart wars that happened here in South Texas. That when the railroads are becoming real prominent here in Texas, that different people started setting up shops on how to distribute goods from another town to another, from one town to another town, and so they would have these carts that they would distribute local produce on to different towns. Well, us Mexicans, we're I'm gonna say we're really hardworking people, so we started using that to our advantage, and we would load up the carts faster than anybody. We were more proficient at this job than anybody, and the locals started becoming mad at that we as a people started making more money than them. So they would gather the Mexicans and hang them on that tree just for having their own business. That it would cut out our oppressor, because we were doing it for cheaper and faster, and it started cutting them out of the market. So to how can I say, instill fear into us, they would do local public hangings to discourage our people on actually gaining a foot, trying to establish ourselves within their society. Let's lock her up. Let's get in. Oh, well, we're gonna get into the article here in a minute, but the article it goes into all that history. The article, I'm gonna start reading it a little bit. The article is entitled The Texas State Historical Association. Cart War by David J. Weber. And it says, Cart War. The so-called Cart War erupted in 1857 and had national and international repercussions. The underlying cause of the event, historians believe, were ethnic and racial hostilities of Texans toward Mexican Texans. Slocky.
Like I got you. Okay, I got you. And it says, exacerbated by the ethnocentrism of the Know Nothing Party.
Slocky, sir. I'm gonna stop you right there. The Know Nothing Party was like a secret society, like the Freemasons, or like you would say the Freemasons, or your Shriners, or what have you. But it was actually, they started gaining political power in Texas because of their anti-foreign views and anti-Catholic views, and it was how can I say, it was a racist party, and it's going to go into it here like right here. It says it's in this same article. It says the American Party, the anti-foreign, anti-Catholic secret society called the American Order, more popularly known as the Know Nothing movement, reached Texas by the mid-1850s. Many Texans joined the movement, and especially its political manifestation. The American Party, some feared foreign ideas, especially the anti-slavery views often attributed to persons of Mexican and German origin in the state. Others believed that the state Democratic Party was drifting dangerously toward a secession position and hoped that the new party might save the Union. Still others were Whigs who, realizing that their party was dying, did not want to join the Democrats. Some Texans were attacked by the secret character of the movement. Texas Know Nothing, like their counterparts elsewhere in the nation, pledged to vote only for native-born Protestants for public office, and to work to increase the resident requirement in the federal nationalization law from 5 to 21 years. The party's first success in Texas came in December 1854 when Know Nothing candidates swept the San Antonio municipal election. Then in 1855, Galvestonians elected a mayor who belonged to the secret order. In both towns, native-born white voters seemed to be reacting to the growing number of foreign-born residents. Early in the summer of 1855, Texas Know Nothing leaders launched a plan to gain political control of the state by subverting the Democratic Party. By that time, they had secretly won over several Democratic leaders, including John S. Ford, chairman of the State Democratic Committee, and Lieutenant Governor David S. Dickinson. On June 11th, under cover of a river improvements convention in Washington on the Bravos, the Know Nothing nominated a slate of candidates to run for state offices and for Congress in the August election. Dickinson headed the ticket in opposition to Democratic Governor Elisha M. Pease re-election bid. Through the true purpose and actions of the convention, it just goes on their political views, but that's who the Know Nothings were. They were a secret society really formulated to keep white supremacy in Texas. But go ahead, sir.
All right, we want to pick up at
the white anger over Mexican sympathy.
Okay, and the white anger over Mexican sympathy with black slaves.
Right. See, we as a people, we're we're a natural, how can I say, we're naturally how can I say, we're the meek of the earth, and when we saw the blacks, we started feeling sympathy for the blacks, and this party was threatened by that because we were, all in all, they were afraid of us joining together, and then that's really, like in the video that we saw earlier, that's really why they separated us. Even when they tortured us, the blacks had their own tree and we had our own tree, so they can further separate us and keep our brotherhood split. Go ahead, sir.
Con. By the mid 1850s, Mexicans and Tejanos had built a successful business of hauling food and merchandise from the port of Indianola to San Antonio and other towns in the interior of Texas.
Right. Come on, sir.
Using ox carts, Mexicans move freight more rapidly and cheaply than their Anglo competitors.
Right. See, we're harder workers than our oppressor, and we did it faster and cheaper. That's why we were gaining more business than they were, because we were more effective. We're a more effective working machine than they are, and that just goes into the characteristics of us Israelites, and is actually described. It describes us in the Bible. I'm going to go into that. So, like, sir, can you pull up Genesis 49, 14 through 15?
Come.
We as a people, we're harder working than our oppressor, and they know it. That's why if you go to any manufacturing jobs, any jobs that especially down here in the Southwest, that require hard manual labor, they're going to hire a Mexican to do it. We're just more proficient and hard working, and we'll do it for cheaper. Got that right?
This is Genesis chapter 49, verse 14. Issachar is a strong ass, couching down between two burdens.
Right. When it says ass, mostly you'll see most Mexicans in their household or like a Mexican restaurant, you'll see a donkey somewhere with two burdens, and we're from Mexico. When we come to the United States, we suffer in Mexico. We carry a hard burden in Mexico because we're hardly making ends meet for our family there in Mexico. So we think we come to the United States and we're thinking, oh, we can do better, and we suffer the same thing here. We work harder. Sure, we're making a little bit more money, but we're making just enough money to survive here. That's the two burdens that we suffer. Go ahead, sir.
So just to get you right on the burdens, the burdens is talking about the weight. So like an ass is a donkey, and this donkey, it has two burdens.
Right.
So the burden is the weight that this donkey is able to carry. You get what I'm saying?
Come on, concert.
Like that. That's what it's talking about right there.
Come on, concert.
And verse 15. And he saw that rest was good, in the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute.
Right. See, that describes on how we're a hard worker, and we'll get the job done. And then that's why they started hating on us, because I mean, that's just our characteristics. We're just hard workers. And they started hating on us because we were gathering more work than they were. We were cutting them out of the market. It's like, sir, can you go ahead with the article?
Come. Slack it. Let me see. Okay, using ox carts, Mexicans move freight more rapidly and cheaply than their Anglo competitors. Some Anglos retaliated by destroying the Mexican ox carts, stealing their freight, and reportedly killing and wounding a number of Mexican carters. An attack on Mexican carters occurred in 1855 near Seguin, but sustained violence did not begin until July 1857. Local authorities made no serious effort to apprehend the criminals, and violence increased so much that some feared that a campaign of death against Mexicans was underway.
Man. And you wonder why we call the oppressor the devil. But like they would use this tree, this particular tree in Goliad as how can I say a fear tactic to get Mexicans to quit the cart business, or at least to slow down. They would hang Mexicans in Goliad in this hanging tree that they had right in front of the courthouse, and it, as it says right here in the article, that they did little to apprehend them.
Right.
And that just goes into a precept that I'll pull right here. It's like, so can you pull in Lamentations 4:17?
Right.
So like, I'm pretty sure that we as a people, we went to the authorities because they were stealing stealing the merchandise, destroying our property, our carts, and they were killing us. We went to them, but as the article stated, that they did little to apprehend them.
This is Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 17. As for us, our eyes are yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right. They can't save us because they're the ones killing us.
Right.
They're the ones oppressing us. They can't save us from our oppression because they are our oppressors. And it just goes to show you that we can never trust them. Okay, we can do commerce with them like they do commerce with us. But we as a people, we can't trust them. We can never trust them. Because they will never love us.
Right.
It's like, sir, you going to
if I could, just to touch on that a little bit, man, because just how you were saying earlier, how our oppressor was seeing the compassion that the so-called Mexicans was having to the so-called blacks.
Right.
And it angered them. And the reason why it angered them, because they know that compassion that we share as a people is something that could cause us to join together against them.
Yeah, right.
Now, the problem is this compassion that we have as a people, we don't know where to draw the line.
Right.
We don't understand that not everybody is to be given that compassion.
Right.
That's what we don't understand. So that's how these oppressors can come and do all these terrible things that they're doing. And it's just allowed to just happen and keep happening. Because the people that are killing us, we expect them to have the same kind of compassion that we have towards us.
Right.
And they're not that kind of people. They're not a compassionate people.
No, they aren't.
So when we look at them, it's like we think that they feel the way we feel.
Right.
We think that their mind works the same way our mind works. And it doesn't. Because way back in the scriptures in Genesis, we were two manner of people.
Right.
We're not the same kind of people at all. And the problem with so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, we think our oppressor is like us, or we think our oppressor, has the potential to, be compassionate and be forgiving, when they're not that kind of people. They don't have that in them. Sometimes I look at this history, man, and it don't even, like, just being in the UPK and being in the truth, like it doesn't even like, I don't even understand it. Like, I don't even understand how it was allowed to carry on, because with us being in the truth, like, we're not going for this.
Right.
Like, we're not just finna let people come lynch us and hang us on trees, and like, we all gonna have to die.
Right.
Because we all going to war.
Damn right.
Like, it's
Damn
just
right.
not about to just happen like that.
Right.
And you read some of these historical accounts, and it's like, wait, you just let them just go grab them and hang them on the tree? Like, what the hell's going on? And then you going to the sheriff's office, they not doing nothing about it. So you just sitting back and doing what? Doing what? Praying? Like, what are you doing? It's that damn Catholicism, man.
Right.
Christianity.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
Go ahead, Doc.
So, like, sir, that's heavy that you bring that out, because that just goes into my next scripture that I was going to have you read, sir. So, like, sir, can you pull up Ecclesiasticus 12 and start at verse 10?
Ecclesiasticus, the Apocrypha.
Come on, sir. We as a people have to stop trusting in our oppressor, because as my other one was just saying, we're totally two different kinds of people. We're compassionate. We show empathy. They don't. They're only compassionate towards their own.
Right. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
See, he can cover up, say, oh, Juan right there, he's a good guy. Yeah, he's a hard worker. Hey, Juan, why don't you join us? You and your primos over there, why don't y'all join us for a drink at the local cantina, and we'll have some shots of tequila because it's Cinco de Mayo. They'll make you feel like they're one of you, and then they'll show up to the bar and have a few drinks with you just because it's Cinco de Mayo. But as soon as you leave, they're talking behind your back.
Right.
They're just there because you are a good worker. And they're just like thinking on how they can break your back even further for their gain. Go ahead, sir.
It's verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass.
Right. Be circumspect of him all the time. So, okay, he's acting like he's a brother, but no, in the back of your mind, keep this in the back of your mind, that he's out to get you. Go ahead, sir.
Come. And thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away.
Right.
Verse 12.
Go ahead, sir.
Verse 12. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place.
Right. See, don't put your trust in him. Yeah, you can be at the job and work for him, and just communicate with him just on that level. But if you do not trust that man. Do not trust him, because he's constantly looking on a way to gain on you. So, like, sir, can you go into more in the article?
Come. Public opinion in some countries between San Antonio and the coast ran heavily against the Carters, who were regarded as intolerable, as in Salakia, who were regarded as an intolerable nuisance. Some newspapers, however, spoke out against the violence. The Austin Southern Intelligencer and the San Antonio Herald expressed concern that the war would raise prices. The Intelligencer also worried that if attacks on a weak race were permitted, the next victims would be the German Texans.
See, they regarded us as a weak race. The only reason why they were concerned about doing something about these killings is because they knew that we did it for cheaper. Once we were out of the picture, the prices would they would go up. It wasn't a question of oh, maybe the prices would go up. No, they knew they would go up because the Anglos did it for more. They weren't about to lift all them heavy boxes on that cart for pennies like we were. They weren't going to do that. So they knew the prices were going to go up. The market was just going to raise up, and the produce in the stores would be more. So the economy was going to shift. That's the only reason why they wanted to stop it. Go ahead, sir.
Khan. Salakia. Says, and finally, a war between the poor and the rich might occur. Some humanitarians also expressed concern for the Mexicans, notwithstanding the fact of their being low in the scale of intelligence, as the Nuisance Valley Weekly of Corpus Christi stated.
See, they constantly look down upon us, but you want to share a beer with them on Cinco de Mayo. When after you leave, they're calling you wetback. They're calling you, oh, he ain't good for nothing but drinking beer, drinking tequila.
Right.
But they sure want you in their shop, lifting all those boxes in the warehouse. They want you for that.
Right.
Go ahead, sir.
News of the violence in Texas soon reached the Mexican minister in Washington, Manuel Robles y Pezuela,
right,
who on October 14th protested the affair to Secretary of State Louis Cass. Cass urged Texas Governor Elisha Pease to end the hostilities. In a message to the state legislature of November 30th, 1857, Pease declared, "It is now very evident that there is no security for the lives of citizens of Mexican origin engaged in the business of transportation along the road from San Antonio to the Gulf." Pease asked for a special appropriation for the militia, and the legislators approved the expenditure with little opposition. Though some citizens of Karnes County who wanted the peon Mexican Teamsters out of business were angry at the arrival of armed escorts for Tejano Carters. The war subsided in December of 1857.
Right. And I'm not sure if in this article it says that the armed escorts were actually the Texas Rangers. And here in Texas, we hold the Texas Rangers in such a high esteem, but we forget the history of the Texas Rangers and how they actually massacred our people to have this land of Texas. And we're gonna go ahead and drop that article, sir. See, you know, they even made a show, a real famous show that what's his name was on there, Walker Texas Ranger, Walker Texas Ranger,
Right.
and it puts the Texas Rangers as such a prominent light on how they're actually lawmen and they uphold the law, and they're for the people, when this is actually far from the truth. With the Texas Rangers, what they really are, they're uphold the interest of our oppressor. Our oppressor controls Texas. They're to uphold their interest. And it's like I said, can we go into the other article that I have?
Come on.
The history of the Texas Rangers is they were formed during after the after the Texas Mexican War. They were formed to rid of prominent Texas landowners that were Mexican for the, how can I say, the Anglos that were coming into Texas, and they wanted the land. So the Texas Rangers were formulated to eradicate that obstacle for the Anglos. And supposedly they were also to uphold the law of here in Texas, but we know the truth. They would massacre our people.
Right.
What law were they upholding when they would just murder people?
Right.
Go ahead, sir.
This is article from the Texas Historical Commission. Remembering the Povenir Massacre.
Right. Povenir was a little small, like farming community on the southwest West Texas border near Presidio, and a lot of the ranchers out there were Mexican. That they've been living in that area since it was Mexico, and they owned a lot of the land there, and they were actually taking away businesses from the incoming Anglo settlers, and they were looking for reasons on how to just get our people out of the land. And they said that a lot of the Mexicans that lived there were actually bandits, and there was a standoff that happened. The article is going into it. Go ahead, sir.
Con. On Friday, November 30th, 2018, the THC held a dedication ceremony for the Povenir Massacre undertow marker in Marfa, Texas. With Texas proximity to the Mexican Revolution and the U.S. involvement in World War I, the nation confronted racial and social instability that fed on the bloody conflicts. Schemes to claim tracts of the U.S. for Mexico were publicized. Some might say propagandized, building on the paranoia already prevalent in that area. Stories of bloodshed created a state of dread among residents on both sides of the border. Ultimately, U.S. troops were dispatched to the border, more than 100,000 from California to Texas. These troops, along with Texas Rangers and other state officials, were tasked with policing the border. With the manpower pouring over the border, the presence of these troops dramatically heightened tensions, escalating an already volatile situation.
Right. See, they created these Anglo settlers. They created propaganda. Oh, these are just some bad hombres. We heard that before, right? Or some bad hombres. They
right.
they were creating propaganda, and this propaganda grew and grew and grew until our oppressors government sent in reinforcements. Go ahead, sir.
Khan. Only a month before the Povenir Massacre in 1918, several Texans, mostly Mexican American citizens, were killed at Bright Ranch on Christmas Day 1917, allegedly by revolutionaries from Mexico.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. But it doesn't say that there. Oh, I'm not going to say that. But let's just say allegedly they were killed by revolutionaries from Mexico. That goes more on the propaganda.
Right.
Go ahead, sir.
Povenir was a remote community in northwest Presidio County on the Rio Grande. The small farming and ranching settlement was the site of a notorious tragedy that took place in the midst of military conflicts, raids across and along the international border, and in the intermediate area during the Mexican Revolution. A group of Texas Rangers from Company B in Marfa, U.S. Army soldiers from Troop G of the 8th Cavalry, and local ranchers arrived at Povenir in the early morning hours of January 28, 1918. They came to the ranch of Manuel Morales and separated 15 able-bodied men and boys from the women, children, and other men. Though initial accounts denied any wrongdoings, later testimony confirmed that these 15 victims were shot and killed. Family members crossed the Rio Grande into Mexico to bury Antonio Castaneda, Logino Flores, Pedro Herrera, Vivian Herrera, Severino Herrera, Manuel Morales, Eutimio Gonzalez, Ambrosio Hernandez, Alberto Garcia, Tiburcio Juarez, Roman Nieves, Serapio Jimenez, Pedro Jimenez, Juan Jimenez, and Macedonia Huertas. In June 1918, Governor William Hobby and Adjutant General James A. Harley disbanded Company B, dismissed 5 Rangers for their actions at Povenir, and forced Captain J.M. Fox's resignation.
Right. See, they were scared that Mexican revolutionaries were coming into the land, so they went out in Povenir and killed this family, 2 families, and some of the casualties. Well, they unalived.
Right.
They unalived 2 families, and some of the listed casualties are children and women. It just goes to show you that they are, how can I say, we're totally different people. They have no compassion in their no compassion in their heart, and they just are bloodthirsty. And so like I said, that just goes to a scripture that I'm going to pull, John 10:10. The word of the Lord says never to trust our enemy. We should not trust them. So we need to separate from them. If they want to celebrate Cinco de Mayo for their game, let them do it over there. We should pull out of their so-called Mexican restaurants that they own to have drinks with them. We should just separate from them. And there's not a law on not celebrating our victory against the French on the Battle of Puebla. We can do that if we want, but let's not do it with them. How about we do it together as brethren? and we can commune together, have brotherhood together, and build on that, because they want to have so-called Cinco de Mayo with us just to gain on us, just for us to go and buy their drinks, buy their flavorless food, their cheap imitation of Mexican food.
Right.
We need to stop all that. Go ahead, sir.
This is the book of John, chapter 10, verse 10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy.
No, he comes to establish a better America.
To steal and to kill and to destroy.
Right. They came over here to steal our land. This is our land. They came over here to steal it, and then they unalived us just so that they can have the land. And they destroyed our carts. They destroyed our businesses for just for their capital gain. Go ahead, sir.
I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly.
Right. This is Christ's words.
Right.
Christ told us to love one another, to stop the hatred of one another. We should stop hating Mexican on Mexicans, Mexican on black. We need to stop that. Once we do that, that's what they're afraid of us coming together, because they know once we do that, their reign of terror on us is over.
Right.
We're not going to stand for it. Once we come together, we're going to show each other compassion and love, and they know that. That's why they continually want to separate while they gain on our backs. It's time for us to come together as the people of Israel and obey the instructions of the Lord.
Right.
Slack, sir, can you pull Revelations 18 verse 4?
God.
I don't know if you can tell the times. I mean, it's easy to see if it's going to rain, right? How about you pull your head out of the dust and realize what time it is, because time is getting short. The time of the oppression on us is coming to an end.
Right.
And if you don't want to fall with the oppressor, join your brothers in UPK.
18 and 4.
Come on, sir.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people."
Right. The Lord is saying, come out of her. Stop joining with them on Cinco de Mayo. Stop joining with them in the clubs, because all they know is destruction. All they know is how to unalive and how to steal. Stop joining with them. Join with your brethren. Go ahead, sir.
That ye be not partakers of her sins.
Right. So we won't learn on how to hate one another, on how to unalive one another, just like they do to us. So we won't partake in that on how to lust after another man's wife, on how to be child abusers like they are. Well, we actually come together as brethren and fear the Lord. Stop fearing them, because what they fear is us coming together. That's what they fear. Go ahead, sir.
And that ye receive not of her plagues.
Right. Because America is falling. America is falling, and judgment is near. If you don't want to be part of that judgment, if you don't want to burn alongside America, join your brothers in UPK.
Right.
Is that all the?
Yeah, that's it.
And for my last verse is Zephaniah 2:1. It is time for us to I'm keep stressing this, is to come together as a people, us so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We're oppressed together, so let's join together.
Right.
They hate us no matter how much they say that they're for us. They actually, our oppressor hates us. We cannot depend on our oppressor to lighten their oppression on us. We can't depend on that. What we can depend on is Christ. That's who we can depend on. And Christ ordered us to come together. Go ahead, sir.
Book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
Right. Us so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are the least desired in this society. And the Lord said for us to gather together, not to go to the bar and have a drink on Cinco de Mayo with the oppressor. We should gather together.
Right.
Go ahead, sir.
Verse 2. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff.
Right. What's that saying is before everything burns up, before destruction comes to this world, because it's coming. It's coming to America. And with that, this is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Just like I said, you got the. I'm about to read the security announcements. Do you have them, sir? Because I can't find it. Bear with us real quick as we pull this up. You want? Go ahead.
These are the ISUPK security announcements. Where the ISUPK started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, Salakia, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Mayashara means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for the priest. Not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you will like. Upcoming holy convocations.
Salakia. Upcoming holy convocations. Feast of First Fruits starts after the Sabbath of unleavened bread, sundown, Sunday, April 28, 2024. Count 50 days. Celebrate the 50th day, Monday, June 17th, 2024. Start before sundown. And you can find this in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 10 through 22.
If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, shalom.
Shalom.